Hello, I'm Garfield Benjamin, and I'm pleased to introduce my book, Mistrust Issues, How Technology Discourses Quantify, Extract, and Legitimize Inequalities. In the book, I examine the role of trust in society today, with a particular focus on technology. To give an example, think about a phone, a smartphone. Do you trust that device? And what does it even mean? Are you trusting that the device will function as you expect it to? Are you trusting the manufacturer of the device to have made it in the correct way? Are you trusting the manufacturers of each individual component? Or perhaps you're trusting the people who design the operating system, or the developers of every single app on it, or the network carrier, or the government that regulates it, or other users that you interact with through it. So when we think about trusting a particular device, a particular technology, what we're really thinking about is trusting a whole network of people, systems, and power relations. And in this way, it actually becomes essentially impossible to trust any particular technology because we don't know what it is or who it is we're actually trusting. And yet we still use our devices, our systems, as if we do trust them. We carry on using our phone every day. So what this means is that even though we might not trust something, even though we might find it actually impossible to trust a technology, we still perform the conditions of trust. We still act as though we trust it. And this happens through our actions, but it also happens at a broader level. And partly this goes alongside the historical decline in political trust, and the fact that alongside that has been an increase in measuring trust. And not just trust, but proxies for trust. So in terms of a technology, we might think of adoption rates or downloads or user numbers instead of trust. And so in this way, these numbers are used to do the same thing, to perform the conditions of trust. If enough users have adopted a particular app, think of the COVID tracing apps during the pandemic. If enough users adopt them, then it's deemed to be trustworthy. It can act as if it's trustworthy, even though they're often operated by companies and governments who have demonstrated they're not necessarily trustworthy. So throughout the book, I examine this phenomenon and these trends and these power structures. And I call this idea trustification, the combination of quantifying trust in order to kind of produce it or produce its effects, and also the discourses, the politics and power around it that support these narratives, really. And I analyze this through four different logics of power. First state, then corporate, research, and global academia, and then media, and the way that this sort of feeds into all the other narratives and supports them. Then I examined three case studies. One is COVID-19 tracing apps, another is tech for good initiatives and humanitarian tech, and the other is facial recognition. And the role that trust plays in these across these different sectors that are all involved. So throughout the book, the focus is on the way that those with existing power can use these systems of trust, these trustification processes, to extract legitimacy from populations, whether that's for funding, whether it's for continuing a program of governance, whether it's for just making more of the same technologies or using them in more sectors. But there's similar kinds of processes are going on in lots of different places surrounding technology. And so it's important that amidst all of this, trust is not the issue, that a lack of trust is not the issue. And the crux of the book is that what the problem is now a lack of mistrust, or mistrust has been defanged. So it all culminates in a push to reinsert the ability to mistrust, to allow us to interrogate who it is we're trusting, what it is we're trusting, what's actually going on, and through that to repoliticize technology, and allow us to address some of the inequalities that are coming out of these systems.